Captured and cuffed, the air on the alien warship was cold. Metal walls hummed with low energy. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Mark Evans, a human diplomat from Earth, sat in chains. His hands were cuffed behind his back, his feet tied to the steel floor. He had come in peace. A few hours ago, Mark was speaking to the alien leaders of the Zalari Empire. Earth had offered a peace agreement, but something went wrong. Without warning, he was captured. No one explained why. Now, he was in a strange room, part prison, part stage. In front of him stood Commander Shala. She was tall and fierce. Her armor was black, sharp at the shoulders, glowing slightly with red light. Her skin was blue-silver, and her eyes burned like twin suns. Soldiers stood behind her, armed, armored, ready. But even they looked nervous. Mark looked up. So this is how peace talks end? Shala walked forward slowly. Her boots echoed across the floor. She stopped only a step away from him. You think peace was ever real? She said coldly. Your leaders were fools. Mark smiled slightly. And you? A coward who arrests diplomats. There was a pause. The soldiers behind her shifted. No one dared speak like that to Shala, but she didn't strike him. Instead, she leaned down, looked him in the eyes, and whispered something that made even the guards freeze. You are the one. Mark blinked. What? Shala stood up. Straight. You don't know, do you? You don't feel it yet. But you will. She turned to her soldiers and raised her hand. Strip away his title. Break his pride. But don't kill him. The soldiers moved forward. Mark braced himself. They pulled him up, dragged him through the halls of the warship. The corridors were full of alien crew members who stopped and stared. Whispers followed him. Is that the human? The one she spoke to? Why is he still alive? Mark didn't understand. Why hadn't they executed him? Why was she protecting him? They brought him to a large chamber open, with a high ceiling. It looked like an arena. Lights shone down from above. Hundreds of alien soldiers stood in the shadows, watching. One of them stepped forward and threw a bucket of freezing liquid on Mark. His shirt stuck to his skin. He shivered but didn't speak. A soldier growled, "Kneel." Mark stayed standing. The soldier raised a rod, electric at the end. He hit Mark in the ribs. Still, Mark did not kneel. The alien crowd murmured. A few of them looked unsure. Some looked impressed. Then, footsteps. Shala entered the arena, slow and confident. She looked around at her soldiers. Do you see? Even in chains, the human refuses to bow. She walked to Mark again and pulled his head up by the chin. Your kind is proud, she said. That pride will break, or change everything. Then she did something no one expected. She bent the knee. She knelt before the chained human, before her army, before the galaxy's eyes. Her soldiers gasped. Mark looked down in shock. What are you doing? Shala whispered again, but loud enough for her guards to hear. You are the flame. The prophecy is true. Even I must kneel. And in that moment, Mark understood. This wasn't just a war. It was something ancient. Something written in alien legend. And now, he was in the middle of it. The chains tightened. The chains around Ethan's wrists dug deeper with every step. The corridor was dark. Cold metal walls reflected the dim purple light that flickered overhead. 2 alien guards marched behind him, tall, armored beasts with eyes like burning coals. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. The pressure from their weapons pressed into his back, said enough. Keep walking or die. At the end of the corridor stood the commander. She was waiting. Commander Zalari. Her armor was different from the others. Sleek, elegant, black and silver, with a glowing red emblem over her heart. Her face was mostly covered, but her golden eyes showed clearly from behind her visor. And those eyes, those cruel, curious eyes watched Ethan like he was some strange animal she had just caught. He stopped walking. The guards pushed him forward, but he stood firm. "Human," she said, voice smooth and sharp. "Kneel." Ethan didn't move. The guards raised their rifles, but before they could hit him, Zalari raised one finger. The room went still. She walked forward slowly, heels tapping against the metal floor. Then, with a wave of her hand, the guard stepped. "Back. I want to see if you understand respect without pain," she whispered. Ethan's jaw tightened. His breath was shaky, but his spirit held. "I'm not yours to kneel," he said. She smiled. "Oh, you're brave. Or foolish." With a flick of her wrist, she activated a holopanel on the wall. A blue hologram blinked to life, showing a view of earth-burning cities, falling towers, ships in orbit firing downwards. "Your people are dying," she said. "And still you stand proud." Ethan's heart pounded, but he didn't look away. "Then kill me, because I'll never break for a monster like you." Zalari tilted her head. Then she leaned too close. Her warm breath touched his cheek. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I don't want to kill you. Not yet." She stepped back. Then, shockingly, she pressed a button, and his cuffs snapped open. Ethan stumbled, nearly falling. He looked down at his free hands in disbelief. "You're free to move," she said, "but not to leave." One guard stepped forward and dropped something at his feet. It was a uniform, clean gray, not human-made. "You will dress. You will follow. And you will behave." "Or what?" he asked. Zalari didn't answer with words. Instead, she turned to a control panel and pulled up another feed. This time, it showed a cell. Inside was another human, a woman, bound, unconscious. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He didn't know her, but she was one of his. "You hurt her?" He growled. "Not yet," Zalari said softly. "But your choices decide her fate." He stared at her, shaking with silent rage. She was playing a game, a sick one. And he was the piece she wanted to move next. But what was her real goal? He changed into the uniform. He had no choice. Once dressed, the guards led him out of the cell block and into a strange new section of the ship, quiet, elegant, and strangely warm. And then he saw it. A hall filled with alien soldiers standing at attention. But when they saw him walk beside Commander Zalari, they didn't laugh. They didn't mock Dot. They stepped back, Dot, all of them. Even the biggest ones armed, armored, dangerous, they backed away from him like he was something worse than death. Ethan saw their eyes. Fear, not for him. For her. Something was wrong with this commander. Something dark. And whatever she wanted with him wasn't just power, Dot. It was personal, Dot, the commander's touch. The metal cuffs bit into Jack's wrists as two alien guards dragged him through the cold corridors of the enemy ship. The walls pulsed faintly, alive with strange energy. Jack tried to look brave, but inside, his heart pounded like a war drum. This wasn't just any prison. This was the personal warship of Commander Taizara, the feared alien warrior who had never shown mercy to a human. The doors at the end of the hallway opened with a low hiss. Jack was thrown to the floor, landing hard on one knee. When he looked up, he saw her tie single quotes Zara Dot. She stood tall, her armor dark as obsidian, her violet skin glowing softly under the lights. Her eyes icy blue and emotionless locked on his face. The room went quiet. Even her guards lowered their eyes. "You are the human who killed 5 of my scouts," she asked in a deep, calm voice. "I didn't start the fight," Jack replied, "but I ended it." For a moment, she just stared at him. Then, she stepped down from her platform and walked toward him. Each step echoed like thunder in the chamber. Jack didn't flinch. He wouldn't give her that satisfaction. But then, She did something unexpected, Dot. She knelt, Dot, not out of respect, but to look into his eyes. Her face was so close he could feel her breath. It was warm. Not cold like he imagined. You smell like fear, she said. But you speak like a soldier. Her hand reached forward, and to everyone's horror, she touched Jack's face. Gasps filled the chamber. Her guards looked away, clearly shaken. One even stepped back. Jack didn't move. Her hand was rough, scarred. But there was something else. Something he didn't expect. Dot, sadness. Dot, I've killed hundreds of your kind, she whispered. But never one who looked at me like you just did. I'm not afraid of you, Jack said quietly. No, she murmured. That's what scares me. Without warning, she rose and ordered the guards out. All of you, leave us. The guards hesitated, confused and alarmed. But they obeyed. The doors sealed shut. Now it was just her and Jack. She walked slowly behind him, circling like a predator. Jack's body tensed. I didn't bring you here to torture you, she said at last. I brought you here because I need your help. Jack blinked. Help? Yes, you're not just a soldier. You're something more. I saw the recordings. You saved one of my wounded. You could have killed her. Jack remained silent. Tizara stepped close again. My people are dying from a virus your people carry. But you're immune. Your blood may be the key. Jack narrowed his eyes. So I'm just a science project to you? Her voice cracked slightly. No, she said. You're my last chance to save my sister. Jack didn't know what to say. This wasn't the monster the humans had warned him about. This was a sister, a commander, a warrior who had chosen to touch the enemy in front of her army and ask for help. Untie me, Jack said finally. Tizara didn't hesitate. She reached for the cuffs, and with a soft click, they fell away. That single act changed everything. Because now, Jack wasn't just a prisoner. He was part of the secret neither side could ever discover. A deal in the shadows. Jack rubbed his sore wrists, still trying to process what had just happened. The alien cuffs lay forgotten on the cold floor, and Commander Tizara, once Earth's most feared enemy, stood in front of him not as a tyrant, but as a sister begging for help. He didn't trust her. Not yet, but he didn't hate her anymore either. She turned and walked toward a control panel on the wall. With a few taps, the lights in the room dimmed, and a shimmering blue shield activated across the doors. No ears will hear us now, she said without looking back. Jack crossed his arms. You're hiding this from your own people? If they knew I released you, let alone asked you for help. She trailed off, her jaw tightening. They'd call me weak, disloyal. Then why take the risk? She turned to face him. Because my sister's life is worth more than pride, and because you showed me something no human ever has. Jack raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Mercy. The silence between them thickened. In that moment, Jack realized this war had created monsters on both sides. But maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to be one of them. He finally spoke. All right, I'll help. But if you betray me, I won't, she said quickly. Not after this. Tizara stepped closer, producing a small device from her belt. It projected a 3D image of a younger alien girl lying in a medical pod. Her face was pale, her breathing uneven. She has 7 days, Tizara said quietly. Your blood might give us the antigens needed to reverse the decay. Our best minds are lost. You're the only chance I have left. Jack's throat tightened. What do you need me to do? She gave him a data chip. We need to sneak you to our geneticist. Quietly. No one can know you're here. The moment they see a human walking free, there will be blood. Jack nodded. Slowly, we'll need disguises. Fake papers. A diversion, maybe. Taizara looked surprised. You're already planning the escape? I've broken out of worse, Jack said with a small grin. Now I just need to break into your lab. For the first time, Taizara smiled a small, careful smile. But Jack noticed something deeper. In her expression, hope, and maybe. Something even warmer that terrified him more than the cuffs ever had. Because this wasn't just a mission. Any more, it was personal, and in the shadows of an enemy ship, a human and an alien began plotting something. That could either end the war or change everything the galaxy believed about Earth's so-called monsters. Taizara led Jack through a narrow back corridor inside the alien warship. The lights here were red and dim, meant for emergency use only. Shadows moved along the walls as silent drones floated by, scanning for movement. Jack stayed close behind. His footsteps light but alert. This path leads to the docking bay's old tunnel, Taizara whispered. No one uses it anymore, but we still need to be fast. Jack's eyes scanned every corner. What about cameras? I've looped the feed, she replied. They'll see an empty hallway. Smart, Jack said. But I have one question. Taizara stopped. Yes. Why me? You could have chosen any human prisoner with the same blood type. Why? Risk me, a soldier who nearly destroyed your base? She looked at him, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Because you didn't destroy it. You could have. You had the shot, but you held your fire. Jack was silent. He remembered that moment well. Dozens of alien children had been playing near the target zone. He couldn't do it. Not everyone in war is a killer, he muttered. And not everyone on my side is loyal to peace, Taizara replied. They moved again, faster this time. They passed through a maintenance hatch, then crawled into a vent tunnel barely big enough for one person. As they moved, Jack finally asked, What happens if your command finds out? They'll execute us both, she said, without pause. Jack smirked grimly. Then let's not let them find out. They reached the end of the tunnel. Below them was the entrance to the lower lab sector. Guards stood watch, tall and armored in dark purple EXO suits. Jack tapped Taizara's shoulder. 2 guards, armed. She pulled out a tiny sphere and tossed it gently into the vent shaft. It rolled down silently and stopped above the guards. Click. A flash of blue light shimmered. The guards froze mid-step, paralyzed, not dead. Stasis tech, she explained. Effective for 60 seconds. They dropped down together. Jack landed in a crouch, scanning the area. Taizara moved fast, pressing her palm to a scanner. The door hissed open. Inside, blinking machines lined the walls. A central pod glowed. Softly, occupied by the same sick girl Jack had seen in the image. Her skin looked worse, now faded, dry, almost cracking. This is Syria, Taizara whispered. My sister. Jack stepped forward. She's just a kid. She's also the reason I became a soldier. Taizara handed Jack a small injector. This will take the blood sample. Once the machine finishes analysis, we'll know if she has a chance. Jack didn't hesitate. He pressed it to his arm and activated the needle. The machine hummed to life. A screen lit up, scrolling with alien symbols. Taizara watched nervously. If it fails, it won't, Jack said firmly. The screen beeped green. Compatible, she whispered, her voice breaking. Jack smiled. Told you. But the smile faded fast, because behind them, the door slammed shut with a metallic boom. They turned. Standing in the doorway was a tall alien general, face hidden behind a sharp red mask. You betrayed us, Taizara. The figure growled. And you brought a human here. Taizara stood in front of Jack, her voice steel. He saved her life. The general stepped forward slowly. Then he'll die with her. Jack narrowed his eyes. Not if he had anything to say about it. The red-masked general stepped into the room slowly, boots striking the floor like war drums. His armored frame looked like a walking tank twice the size of Jack, with arms lined in plasma veins and a sword pulsing with red light at his side. Jack didn't blink. He moved in front of the sick girl's pod, shielding her with his body. "You'll have to go through me," he said calmly. The general's mask turned slightly. "I was planning to." He raised one massive hand, and from his palm, a charge of raw energy began to build. Tizara didn't wait. She pulled out a small weapon from her hip, aimed at the general's shoulder, and fired. The blast hit. It sparked, but only slightly staggered him. His armor absorbed most of the impact. "Foolish child," the general growled. He lunged toward her. Jack moved faster than any human Tizara had ever seen. His body blurred for a moment, sliding between her and the incoming attack. General's energy blade slashed out, but Jack was already gone. Tizara's eyes widened. "How did you?" Jack smirked. "Your stasis grenade, ... Maybe it did more than freeze time." He moved again, vanishing and reappearing behind. The general. With a hard punch, he hit the back of the alien's knee. It cracked. The general roared in pain and staggered. Jack grabbed a broken lab rod from the floor and jammed it into the joint of the general's armor. Sparks flew, but the general wasn't done. He spun with brutal speed, grabbing Jack by the throat and lifting him off the ground. Fast, but not fast enough, the general hissed. Jack gasped, his vision starting to blur. He clawed at the arm holding him. No good. But then, boom. Shockwave burst across the room. Tizara had overloaded a power cell from the wall and slammed it into the general's back. The explosion sent them all flying. Jack hit the ground, hard, rolling across the floor and coughing. The general crashed into the far wall, armor sparking and partially melted. Tizara pulled Jack up. "We can't beat him in a fair fight," she said breathlessly. "We have to outsmart him." Jack's eyes went to the lab pod. Syria was still inside safe for now. "I have an idea," he said. He dashed to the console. "How fast can the auto-launch work?" 30 seconds, Tizara said. "Then get her ready, now." Jack typed commands rapidly. The pod hissed and began to lower into a hidden escape tube beneath the lab. Just then, the general stood again. 30 seconds is a long time to live, he said. Jack stood between him and the launch tube. "Yeah? Let's see if you can reach." "And me in 10. The general roared and charged. Jack ran at him, sliding low, grabbing a cable from the floor. As he passed, he wrapped it around the general's leg. The general stumbled. Jack leapt onto his back and shoved the other end of the power cable directly into the broken part of the alien's armor. Screech, boom. The surge lit up the entire lab. The general screamed as his body convulsed with electricity. Jack fell back, breathing hard. Tizara hit the launch button. With a hiss and a flash of light, the pod containing Syria shot upward through the tube and out into the sky, hidden in a stealth escape shuttle. "She's safe," Tizara whispered. Jack looked over at the smoking figure of the general. "Not yet." The alien twitched, but then slumped, unconscious. Jack collapsed against the wall. "We need to go," Tizara said. "I can't move," Jack muttered. "Give me a second." She grabbed his arm and helped him stand. "You shouldn't have done that," she said. "That could have killed you." Jack smiled weakly. "You said she was your whole reason for fighting. Nobody should lose that reason. Not even you." Tizara's lips trembled, and for the first time, she didn't look like a hardened alien warrior. She looked like a sister, a daughter, a person. "I won't forget this," she whispered. Sirens blared across the ship. Jack groaned. "Well, they definitely know now." Taizara activated a hidden panel on the wall. I have one more way out, but it'll be tight. Jack gave her a grin. Tight is fine, as long as we don't die. They disappeared into the shadows together. The cell was dark, but not silent. Every sound echoed footsteps, whispers, even the soft click of the cuffs that still locked his wrists. Alex sat against the cold wall. His body ached, but his mind raced. He remembered the commander's eyes. That look wasn't hate. It was something stranger. Something broken. Then the door opened. Again, she walked in. Alone, Commander Kaisera, but this time she wasn't in armor. No glowing red suit. No guards. Just a long dark robe that flowed behind her in shadows dancing across her pale silver skin. Her hair was still pulled back, sharp as ever. But her expression? Not cruel. Almost sad. You don't belong here, she said quietly. Alex stayed silent. You shouldn't have seen what you saw in the hall. That wasn't for your kind to understand. He still said nothing. So she stepped forward, slowly, and then she uncuffed him. Alex rubbed his wrists, confused. Why are you doing this? Kaisera looked away as if embarrassed. Because they lied to me too. He blinked. What? She walked to the wall and tapped a panel. A hologram appeared. A map. A facility. This base isn't just for holding prisoners. It's something else. Hidden. Even from most of my own people. She paused. Her voice dropped. There. Experimenting on humans. Alex felt a chill. Why? Kaisera turned to him. Her eyes glowed with fury. To find out why you survive things we don't. Why your kind can bond across species. Why some humans ... wake something ancient in us. Alex remembered her expression back in the hall. The way even her own guards backed away. What did I wake in you? He asked, carefully. Kaisera stepped close. She didn't touch him but her. Voice cracked. Fear. She closed the panel and handed him a small device. A tracker jammer. You'll need it. I'm giving you one chance to escape. But if they catch you again, not even I can help. Alex looked at her, confused. Why are you helping me at all? Kaisera's voice was barely above a whisper now. Because I saw your memories when I touched you. The fire, the pain, the sacrifice. You fought for someone who didn't even belong to your species. Her voice broke. You reminded me what we used to be. He watched her. His heart pounded. Then she turned to leave. But before she did, she said one last thing. The real threat is beneath this base. If you're brave enough, find it. If you're smart, run. The door slid shut behind her. Alex stood in the silence, uncuffed, unchained, but more unsure than ever. The end.